Good morning, respected principal ma'am and all the educators present over here. First of all, I would like to thank principal ma'am for giving me this opportunity to discuss how to prepare an annual pedagogical plan with all of you. So before beginning my presentation, let us discuss why do we need to prepare an annual pedagogical plan. So dear educators, as per CBSE circular dated 9th March 2019, each CBSE affiliated school has to prepare their own annual pedagogical plan, and the same must be sent to CBSE. And as per the circular, it is a must to implement whatever you have included in your annual pedagogical plan. CBSE says we plan for everything. We plan for our investment, we plan before cooking. So why not we should plan for our teaching? So before entering the class, each teacher needs to be well prepared with the topic which he or she is going to teach in the class. Now teachers, they need to use metacognitive practices in the classroom. Now 1960 wala outdated education system, it won't work now. As Sangeeta ma'am talked about 21st century skills, we are talking about creative and innovative education teaching method, but still it is not in practice. We are just talking about them. But this time, as per the direction of new education policy 2020 and CBSE, each CBSE affiliated schools have to prepare their annual pedagogical plan. And the schools in future, they will not be able to download the admit cards of classes 10th and 12th if they will not be uploading their annual pedagogical plan on CBSE website. So these are the reason for which each CBSE affiliated schools have to prepare their own annual pedagogical plan. So what we are going to discuss in this presentation, we are going to understand the consideration and process of preparing a pedagogical plan. My presentation will try to encourage teachers and leaders to promote and implement various teaching strategies as pedagogical tools for deeper learning. So here now CBSE talks about metacognitive practices. Okay, so now teachers need to think about thinking. They need to think out of the box. So before teaching, they need to make strategy. Okay, they need to prepare their lesson plan daily. This is what CBSE says now. I will try to orient teachers with the relevant circulars received from CBSE from time to time, and CBSE keeps sending circulars, keeps issuing important circulars which we teachers must go through. I will try to familiarize participants with the suggestive life of activities to be included in annual pedagogical plan, and most important, I will try to help you to prepare an effective and comprehensive annual pedagogical plan. So through this presentation, actually we will collectively learn how to prepare annual pedagogical plan, because we have to work like a team. to prepare this annual pedagogical plan. It is not the work of a principal, it is not the work of the vice principal only, it is not the work of a individual teacher. Here there will be a team who will be preparing their annual pedagogical plan. So before moving ahead, now let us discuss these questions. Let us now this time, it is the time for pondering and planning. So without thinking, without planning, now entering in a classroom without a pedagogical plan, it is just a wastage of time as per new education policy. It cannot give a learning outcome. Okay, so for actually CBSE talks about active learning outcomes. So in order for getting an active learning outcomes, we need to use different methodology. We need to include different methodology in our teaching, different strategies. We need to think about thinking. Okay, that is meta cognitive practices. So first, a teacher needs to introspect. Where are we now as a teacher? So each individual need to think about where are we as teachers. Are we able to fulfill today's demand in education? Are we honestly giving what the students require today? Are we able to do so? So we need to think over it. What do we need to do in the coming year? So what can be done to upgrade ourselves? What a teacher can do, it needs to be it needs to be thought upon. What a teacher can do to update himself or herself. How will we achieve what we want to do? So what can be done, whether any course is required to be undergone. A teacher needs to be undergo a course, or how we can achieve that level or the result which we want from our student. So we cannot get desired result until we change our teaching methodology, if we are not getting our desired result. So here as Sangeeta ma'am also talks about 21st century skills. So we are just talking about innovative teaching methods, 21st century skills, but CBSE says now these things must be implemented, must be included in your pedagogical plan. And it is not about just preparing an annual pedagogical plan on the paper only. It must be implemented. Okay, so what is the timeline for implementation? So whatever the change we want, whatever the learning outcomes we want from our students, so what is the timeline for implementation? Whatever I have learned, whatever I have want to apply for in my teaching. Okay, so whatever the courses I have undergone, whatever the methods I want to adapt, so it needs to be think over what is the timeline. A timeline must be fixed in 2 months, 3 months. Whatever the desired result, desired outcomes we want from the students, for the same a timeline must be fixed as per the guideline of CBSE. Now what will the impact look like? Okay, so after bringing those practices after implementation of those metacognitive practices, how will your teaching in the classroom change? This is what we need to think. So after a teacher introspected as an individual, now as a team, we need to think about our school. So where are we now as a school? Now at a school level, we need to think, what do we need to do in the coming year? Okay, so in order to achieve that level which CBSE wants from all affiliated schools, or in order to get desired result, okay, so what do we need to do in the coming year, and how will we achieve what we want to do? So in your pedagogical plan, these questions must be answered. Okay, so what are you going to achieve the desired result? How will we be achieving that desired result? It must be included to your annual pedagogical plan. And who is responsible? So definitely principal, vice principal, coordinators, and each member of the team who are preparing pedagogical plan, each teacher individually, because only they are supposed to upgrade themselves, they are supposed to improve themselves, so they are responsible, isn't it, Aditya? It is their responsibility. Okay, so now what is the timeline for implementation? So whatever you have planned for the future in your school to be implemented, so for the same a timeline must be mentioned. Now CBSE is very strict about the implementation of the same. They may ask the pedagogical plan anytime. So that is why every each school needs to implement it. What will the impact look like? So we have to answer in the pedagogical plan after implementation of what you have decided, how your classroom teaching will change, and what result you will get after implementing what you want to implement for getting desired result. So this is what needs to be answered in your pedagogical plan. So these questions must be answered in your in our sorry, pedagogical plan. So before moving ahead, let us discuss how leadership, what is the effect of leadership on student learning. So as per CBSE, the school leadership, the effect of school leadership on student learning is of different type. It can be direct effect. So as we all know that school leadership, the school management does not teach in the classroom. What can they do? How do they affect classroom teaching? So school management can create a congenial atmosphere, congenial environment for teaching. They can build a capacity of teachers. They can create a safe and secure environment of learning. They can provide material to the teachers which the teachers are required for teaching. So school management, school leadership, hence the direct effect of, it is the direct effect of school leadership on student learning. Now the next one is indirect effect of school leadership on student learning. So as we have just discussed, what is the role of school leadership? School leadership can recruit quality teachers. Now it is school leadership directly it does not teach a student. Okay, so now the quality teaching of the teachers, it affect the student learning. So it is an indirect effect of school leadership on student learning. Now, next one is reciprocal effect of school leadership on student learning. The school leadership should take feedback from student in order to make change in their annual pedagogical plan if it is required. So once a school has prepared their annual pedagogical plan, so it needs to be assessed, it needs to be evaluated on monthly basis, and if changes required, then in next year annual pedagogical plan the changes needs to be done. So here the school leadership can take feedback about teachers, about the facilities which are provided by the school management, and this feedback can be taken from the students who are studying in the school or the students who have just passed out. So the feedbacks can be taken from those students. And here I would like to add, each teacher in the classroom, they should take the feedback, and feedback can be taken from the students in senior classes, or otherwise it can also be done for in junior classes. Another teacher of same subject can be made sit in the classroom and can be asked to give the feedback of your teaching. Okay, and it should be taken positively, and according to that a teacher can change himself, the method of the teaching method of himself or herself. So this way the feedback is very important. Okay, so here we are talking about the feedback which will be taken by school leadership from the students, but a teacher itself can take feedback from students and can improve accordingly. Okay, now yes, so what is pedagogy? So we all know that the method and practice of teaching, specially for an academic subject or theoretical concept, commonly it is referred to as best teaching practices. And what is plan? A proposal for doing or achieving something, or an intention or decision about what one is going to do. So as we have discussed, we make plan for everything. We make plan for dinner, we make plan for cooking dinner, lunch, breakfast, and we make plan for investing money. So why not for teaching? So plan must be made for teaching. A pedagogical plan must be prepared on daily basis. So an hour of planning can save you 10 hours of doing. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So plans are nothing, planning is everything. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So that is why plan is very important. Now, according to CBSE and NEP 2020, what is a pedagogical plan? So definitely we all know that pedagogical plan is the process of developing the thinking behind an entire lesson or a specific learning activity. So whatever we are going to teach in the classroom, whether it is a lesson, whether it is a topic, whether it is an activity, the whole planning which is done before entering the classroom, before performing that activity, before teaching in the classroom. So that is pedagogical plan. Okay, so now metacognitive practices are being talked about. A teacher must think about thinking. So before entering the class, we must plan how this lesson, this topic could be made interesting, could be taught in the class in an interesting way, in an innovative way. Here we are talking about innovative pedagogical plan. CBSE now talks about innovative pedagogical plan, innovative methods of teaching. The students must get 21st century skills. So we are talking about this, but now it should be done on ground level. So pedagogical plan includes all thinking, preparation and steps of execution involved in making each stage of curriculum transaction meaningful and comprehensive. That is in the form of setting learning objectives, preparing lesson plans, assessment and learning outcomes. Now, why pedagogical planning? So as per the direction of New Education Policy 2020, in New Education Policy 2020, we are talking about 21st century skills, we are talking about innovative methods of teaching, we are talking about the creative minds of students. So that is why pedagogical planning is required. New methods are essential. New innovative methods are essential. Even in NEP, we are talking about new methods of teaching, new innovative methods of teaching. We are talking about 21st century skills. So that is why pedagogical plan is required to enable joyful and innovative transaction of curriculum in the classroom, to make the teaching interesting, to make your teaching joyful. Annual pedagogical planning is required to ensure quality education and for the all-round development, for holistic development of a student, of learners. Pedagogical planning is required. So now let us discuss about different circulars which have been rolled out by CBSE time to time. In the circular rolled out 9th March 2019, CBSE talks about principal as a pedagogical leader. So who is a pedagogical leader? So principals of each CBSE affiliated schools are the pedagogical leaders, and we have to, a team is supposed to work under them to prepare this pedagogical plan, and that team may include coordinators, senior teachers, anyone may be the part of that team, and each individual teacher is responsible to updating themselves. Circular dated 5th September 2019 talks about the role of a principal. So I would request you all to go through all these circulars, which are very important. For each teacher must go through these circulars. Some more relevant CBSE circulars. Circular number 5 rolled out on 8th January 2019. It is about learning outcomes at the elementary stage. Circular number 15 dated 8th March 2019. It talks about introduction of art integrated learning at all levels in CBSE affiliated schools. Circular number 13 dated 9th March 2019. It talks about in-service training of principal and teachers with reference to chapter 16 of affiliation bylaws 2018. Circular number 15 dated 9th March 2019. It talks about principal as pedagogical leaders of their schools and preparation of annual pedagogical planning by all schools. This is what we are discussing. As per circular number 15, they rolled out on 9th March 2019, it is a must for all CBSE affiliated schools to prepare their annual pedagogical plan. So at the same time, CBSE gives autonomy to all the CBSE affiliated schools to prepare their own pedagogical plan. There is no any specific format as per their available resources, as per the capacity of their teacher, as per the desired outcomes which they want from students. So they have to prepare their own pedagogical plan, because for example, KVS has different capacity of teachers, they have different resources, they have different infrastructure, NVS they have different APS, they have different, so that is why each school is free, they have autonomy to prepare their own pedagogical plan, they have freedom to prepare their own pedagogical plan. Now circular number 49 dated 5th September 2019 talks about it is about for pedagogical leaders, and we have already discussed principles of all CBSE affiliated schools. They are pedagogical leaders of their schools. Now, so after the school has prepared their own pedagogical plan, annual pedagogical plan, now it must be implemented, and it is not like that the plan has been prepared on the paper, it has been sent to CBSE, then it is of no use. No, it won't work now. Even CBSE can cancel the affiliations of the school if they are not following their annual pedagogical plan properly, strictly. So that is why we need to prepare annual pedagogical plan. So prepare own structure of annual pedagogical plan and implementation calendar. Ensure detailing the innovative pedagogy. Yes, the annual pedagogical plan must include innovative pedagogies, because now 1960 wala outdated education, outdated teaching methodology won't work. Develop content related arts, sports, information, communication technology. So your annual pedagogical plan should be prepared in keeping in the mind holistic development of the learners. Okay, so we need to include curricular and co-curricular activities both equally, both must get equal space in the pedagogical plan. Now ensure dissemination of plan by June every year. Yes, CBSE is also strict about the circulation of the plan. Plan must be circulated by the June, but we haven't prepared any plan as of yet. But don't worry, we have prepared just a sample plan, but now we need to work on it, and we have to prepare a solid annual pedagogical plan. We need to prepare a solid annual pedagogical plan. I will show you the plan which we have prepared. It is just a sample plan. We need to work on it, and we need to prepare an effective and comprehensive annual pedagogical plan. Monitor the progress at least on a monthly basis. Yes, this is what I was talking about. The plan should be monitored by pedagogical leader, means principal. The plan must be monitored by the principal on monthly basis, whether which methodology has been used by which teacher, okay, whether it is used in a proper way or not, whatever it has been, whatever been included in the pedagogical plan, it must be followed strictly, it must be implemented strictly. Yeah, even the teachers need to keep a self-assessment diary, they need to prepare a rubric for themselves, they need to evaluate themselves, okay, so that they can update themselves. Now reach out the board for training needs. As we all know, we all have registered for some CBSE programs, which time to time some programs are free and some are paid on CBSE website. We all have gone through some of them. So time to time the teachers who are teaching in CBSE affiliated school, they need to undergo these workshops, these trainings which CBSE provides. Maintain records of preparation and progress. Yes, that's why I said each teacher need to keep their self-assessment diary, they need to prepare the rubric of their assessment. That is very important. Each teacher need to evaluate themselves, assess themselves. This is what needs to be done after implementation of annual pedagogical plan. And each line I have taken from the CBSE circulars only, not a single line is from my side. Okay, so each line which you can see I have taken from CBSE circular only. So this is what CBSE circulars on on the preparation of annual pedagogical plan says. So plans to be sent to the Director Academic CBSE on email ID this. So on this mail ID, once the school team has prepared the pedagogical plan, they have to send this plan, they have to mail this plan here. Selected few plans will be circulated to all affiliated schools as exemplar for our best practice. So for as exemplar, so that other schools who cannot understand, who cannot prepare if they don't know the format of preparing the annual pedagogical plan, so for exemplar it will be circulated as it will be as a help of these schools. Okay, so CBSE is very strict about the implementation of plan. So whatever one has prepared, whatever the team of principal, vice principal, coordinators and senior teachers, whatever they have prepared, it must be implemented, and timeline must be mentioned. And simply each and every activities must be included to that annual pedagogical plan, so that whenever any inspection team arrives in the school from CBSE, and we can show that plan to them. Now let us talk about the circular, how it guides the schools to prepare their annual pedagogical plan. So it has been divided into different layers actually. So I haven't taken all the layers. It will take I think minimum 1 week to explain it, but in the times which I have got, I have prepared the summary of all the circulars, which definitely will help us to understand how to prepare this annual pedagogical plan. So layer 1 talks about setting a direction for school improvement and student learning. So layer 1 of this plan talks about setting a direction for school improvement and student learning. So it may include creating a vision for the school. So first of all, CBSE says each school needs to create their vision, and it should be a shared vision. In the plan, it should be a collaborative plan. CBSE here talks about a teamwork, not only principal is responsible for whole school. CBSE does not hold principal responsible for everything. Here CBSE talks about distributed leadership. There should be distributed leadership. Okay, so there should be a shared vision. Each teacher needs to give their vision. Then the pedagogical leader, the principal, will decide, will take the points from all the whatever the vision has been given by all the teachers. So they're taking some points from their vision. A shared vision will be created. Then CBSE talks about developing SMART goals. So what is SMART goal? As a teacher, we also need to set SMART goals for ourselves. What is SMART goals? So our goal should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time bound. So it should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. So this SMART words includes the whole planning of pedagogy. Okay. Developing a personal vision as school leader. So after going through the shared vision, the pedagogical leader, the principal, will be preparing a personal vision as school leader. Aligning personal values with education system's values. Yes, if any individual thinks that these values needs to be aligned with the education system, yes, they are welcome. They can come forward. Okay, so they can come forward their personal values. It must be given space in annual pedagogical plan. So now layer 2, we have discussed about layer 1. Now layer 2 of pedagogical plan, how to prepare the pedagogical plan. The layer 2 of CBSE circular talks about practicing pedagogical leadership. Okay, so engaging in teachers' professional development. It has actually 6 descriptors which needs to be worked upon. In layer 1 there are 5 descriptors which needs to be worked upon. In layer 2 there are 6 descriptors which need to be worked upon. So engaging in teachers' professional development. So already it is done by FDRC in our school. Time to time we attend many workshops. So already it is in practice. Initiating innovations in schools. So here we are talking about metacognitive teaching practices. The teachers need to think out of box. They need to prepare innovative pedagogical plan. Leading teaching learning processes. They need to lead teaching learning processes. The teachers now the teachers need to work like a facilitator now. The teacher needs to work like facilitator now. The students should be given more space for creative thinking, for developing skills. Okay. Developing learning cultures. So in schools, all the teachers of same subject, they can come together. Okay, they can learn from each other. In the same way, we can make group of students, we can give them group activities. So this way, in teaching as well as among students, also in among teachers and students as well, learning culture needs to be developed. Building a inclusive culture. So in school, there should be distributed leadership, but there should be collaborative decision making. There should be collaborative decision making, and the leaders, whether they are coordinators, they are principals, they are vice principal, they need to be self-aware leaders. Yes, you all are. I hope you all are getting what is self-aware leader. You need to know what is going on. You need to know on your own what is going on among teachers, what is their requirement, and how the plan which has been prepared, whether it is being followed. Okay, so and the leaders need to take the feedback on their own. They should know the capacity of each teacher. Now let us talk about descriptor 1 of layer 2, engaging teachers professional development, which will empower teachers to become agents of change, which will promote reflective and metacognitive thinking practices, which create opportunity for continuous and comprehensive professional learning, which ascertain the needs of professional development through collaborative practices. So now CBSE talks about collaborative practices, team work, inclusive practices. Okay, so now let us try to understand about these points one by one. Ascertain the needs for professional development through collaborative practice. So what can be done for the professional development of teachers? Co-construct mechanism with the faculty and suit the context of the school in order to identify their professional needs. Yes, this is what I was talking about in the beginning. A rubric needs to be made, checklist, rating scales with faculty. Principal needs to prepare these criteria, and the teachers need to be evaluated, and wherever it is required to support their professional needs, so it will be supported by pedagogical leader. So use these co-construct mechanism on a regular basis, and assessment of the teachers needs to be done on regular basis. Engage in a dialogue with individual teachers to identify individual needs. So each teacher needs to be talked individually to identify their individual needs. Establish subject-wise committees for feedback on current knowledge and skills of teachers and identify specific teachers' needs. So CBSE talks about subject-wide committees which will give a proper feedback about the subject knowledge of the teachers, and what can be done to improve it. Further, what can be done to improve it? Establish SMART targets for teacher, as we have discussed about SMART goals. Okay, so in the same manner, a SMART target needs to be prepared for the teachers. Okay, so it's all about today's presentation, as time allows this much only. In my next part of my presentation, I will be explaining the remaining parts of this circular, as well as we will practice how to prepare annual pedagogical plan. I will also show you a sample which has been prepared by me. So thank you, explore more, and let us make it an interactive session in the next part of this presentation. Go through these circulars, and we will be discussing more about next. Thank you. See you.